cons to both. I mean, one, when you dangle the sort of day one payout in front of someone, they might be tempted just to bring the money out. I mean, hopefully people trust us enough to know that they don't need to don't need to rush the capital out, because it will be there for them no matter what. But I think when you've got people who it's a longer payment cycle, people will just wait. That's often a payment. They'll make good money in 3 days, for example, but then they know they can't withdraw for 28 days, and sometimes they'll just stop trading because they want to make sure that profit's secure. That's priority number one. Whereas with us, they could take a bit of profit and continue to trade, so they may miss tons of opportunities that happen in those sort of remaining 25 days. So that's generally the feedback I get when people talk about monthly payouts.
So this week we asked our traders if our payment structure was one of the leading payout structures in the industry. We've had over 1,000 responses, and 72% of traders said yes, we have the leading payment structure in the industry, and 28% said no. Could you just briefly go over what our payment structure looks like now in terms of getting funded, getting paid out, and what sort of timelines there is?
Yeah, I mean, if a trader's on a funded account and they've made over $50, they can withdraw that first payment whenever they want. It really is as simple as that as well. We offer a real solid bank solution that most people don't have, and a crypto solution. We're not messing around with all these ones that take like 50 steps in order to get paid as well. So it's not just when you can get paid, it's also how you get paid, I think, is very important as well.
Yeah, one of the first questions that comes to my mind that I see traders asking on Instagram all the time is, how can you offer day one payouts and then weekly payouts thereafter, while some firms are offering monthly payouts and, like you just said, X, Y, and Z to reach that target?
You mean how sustainable it is?
Yeah.
I mean, it's something we've always done, so we know it works, which is a bit of a glib sort of a response to that. But no, we always made sure that we had a balanced program parameters with the relative drawdown and the lower leverage and things like that, so it keeps your sort of volatility a bit more consistent in your payouts. But even when we've had big industry events that have caused lots of people to come and trade, and ones that have caused fewer people to trade as well, we've always been able to sort of go over those peaks and troughs, if you like. And one of the reasons for that is we just keep so much cash in the business as well, so we can ride any waves. But we always created a sustainable model. It wasn't always designed to be the most popular or the one that had the biggest discounts or had the biggest drawdown parameters and stuff like that, but it was one that was always going to last the test of time, and it continues to do so.
So what are the actual benefits of offering day one payouts? I know you've touched upon it on previous episodes when we first started launching this podcast, but yeah, just remind the traders of the benefits of payouts from day one.
The main benefit is we don't want to force traders to take a particular style or take a particular route of doing things. We try and put as few rules as possible to allow traders to sort of express themselves, for want of a better description, if you like. And it also applies to people who choose when they want to take the profit as well. I mean, as I've said on sort of other podcasts as well, it's people may have a really good run on day one. They may just have a day where just, I don't know, whatever their favoured market is, gold is just, the floors come out and they're just shorting gold all day, and they're like, well, I want to take some profit, whereas other people might, want to keep it in their account and things like that. So it's just about giving people that flexibility so the trader can decide.
So we've got payouts from day one, and then I'd just like to touch upon the weekly payout system. So how does that compare to the more traditional, let's say, or the older version of monthly payouts?
Yeah, I mean, monthly payouts were the industry standard when we started, and then some people have gone bi-weekly and things like that. But we just thought that's a fair thing to do. It doesn't put too much burden on the operations team, so they can provide a quality of service to everyone because it's not too frequent. But at the same time, having to wait 7 days from the first payout day is not particularly long. And we've never really had any complaints about it at all, actually, never.
No, it's one of our strongest. It's one of our strongest points. So. Traders really do enjoy obviously getting paid out from day one, then weekly payouts. Because, I mean, touching on that point, is there any way of making it any better? Any ideas in your head? Or
not particularly. I mean, you could just say get payout when you want, and then do but you don't have someone do, I don't know, $20 like 50 times or something in a row, things like that. So it's got to be balanced between making sure we can provide the quality of service to everyone. I don't think it's asking people to be too patient to say, look, you get your first one, then just wait 7 days from that anniversary.
Touch upon how the behaviour of a trader changes with the payout structures within companies. So if a trader A, for example, knows he can get paid out from day one and then weekly payouts thereafter, does his behaviour change if he was then put on like the traditional method of monthly payouts?
Yeah, I think so. There's pros and cons to both. I mean, one, when you dangle the sort of day one payout in front of someone, they might be tempted just to bring the money out. I mean, hopefully people trust us enough to know that they don't need to rush the capital out, because it will be there for them no matter what. But I think when you've got people who it's a longer payment cycle, people will just wait. That's often a payment. They'll make good money in 3 days, for example, but then they know they can't withdraw for 28 days. And sometimes they'll just stop trading because they want to make sure that profit's secure. That's priority number one. Whereas with us, they could take a bit of profit and continue to trade. So they may miss tons of opportunities that happen in those sort of remaining 25 days. So that's generally the feedback I get when people talk about monthly payouts.
So 72% of traders said that Funded Trading Plus have the leading payment structure in the industry. Firstly, as a CEO of the company, how does that make you feel?
Sucks. I want it to be 100%. No, it's good. It's good that I guess over 7 out of 10 people feel that when there's so many firms around. So that's great news.
And why do you think it's becoming so popular? Weekly payouts and getting paid from day one and weekly
Well,
payouts.
I think people realise that as I've alluded to before, there's no good reason not to. When again going back to the same story I probably told 15 times, it's going to bore everyone to death watching this. Is when we first started and I started doing the funded trading test to sort of teach people strategies to pass them. It was a case of, well, there's no good reason to make someone wait ages for a payout, and that's still true today. And I think as traders become more knowledgeable about the funded space as the space matures, that people are going to be demanding and say, well, justify to me why you can't pay me out quicker, justify why this time there is, etc. And the firms have to be able to say that. Whereas any parameter we've got, I'm pretty confident I can transparently and honestly try and justify why we have it or don't have it.
So let's talk about the operations behind actually being able to offer day one payouts and weekly payouts. Is there any issues and challenges you face as a company being able to distribute that weekly?
So we automate things where we can, so we'll hit the withdrawal button and then we'll go through a bit of a manual process as well. But we have always been overstaffed as a prop firm. I've spoken to other CEOs of prop firms like, well, how many people have got employed? It's like, I've always rather have too many people, and so occasionally they don't have a great deal of work to do to make sure that they can always respond quickly. Someone hits that withdrawal button, they want to receive their invoice, we want to make sure that their KYC is done and things like that, and then we can try and get the payment processed as quick as possible.
Yeah, because obviously you mentioned it before, so in high volatility times, obviously when traders are doing exceptionally well and payouts are higher than usual, is that a sign to show our traders how well we actually handle the undisruption of the services?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, what we can do is we can shift staff from one area to another. So if it's like, well, we've got a backlog of payouts, and we can drop people from A to B to North Direct. So we've got people who are sort of skilled across the whole range of the operations things, so they can always drop into different roles that have got a high demand at that time. It's all the boring business back end, but it's all the thought that has to go into it in order to make sure that a trader's getting a seamless experience.
Well, just to conclude this episode then, Simon, currently at 72% of traders believe that we've got the leading payment structure. How do we whittle that gap closer to the 90% and above?
Well, they need to come and trade with us, get funded, and then get paid out in day one.
Well, we'll end the episode there. That's a great way to end the episode. And we'll catch you all next week. Thank you very much.